Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Borderwise, and I'm wondering just how much paleontological advice Ubisoft had when making Far Cry Primal. Now bear in mind that this is a critique based upon game footage that has been released thus far of the alpha build. I haven't actually played any preview version yet, and presumably nothing we've seen thus far is absolutely final. First things first, the game looks good. The animals all are wonderfully textured and animated, and the developers definitely did at least some research into Ice Age animals. The first problem lies in where on earth this game is set. Literally, what continent are we meant to be on here? The official Ubisoft blog says that the team wanted a setting that would have had a glacier, so they settled on the Carpathian Mountains, somewhere in Slovakia. Okay, so that points to Eurasia, and specifically what is now Eastern Europe, but that doesn't explain some of the animals that crop up in the game here. The game world has some pretty out-of-place wildlife, without Far Cry's usual justifications. The justifications for misplaced wildlife in previous Far Cry games is animal trade. Humans ferrying animals about to be sold on the black market. Fair enough, right? That excuse doesn't fly so well in 10,000 years BC. What, are Cro-Magnons systematically herding saber-toothed cats or woolly rhinos across the Bering Strait? Why? In the preview footage I've seen, there are animals mingling that flat out could never have met in real life. Woolly rhinos, cave bears, and dhole are Eurasian species, so they're roughly in the right place. However, direwolves and Smilodon, the famous saber-toothed cat, are strictly American species. Jaguars and lions, funny enough, have existed in both the Americas and Eurasia, but Eurasian jaguars died out before the time the game is set. The numbers don't match, you see? Last but not least, the honey badger, an African and Southwest Asian critter that to the best of my knowledge has never existed naturally anywhere else, especially not in Ice Age Europe. I guess the dev team just couldn't resist putting them in, seeing their reception in Far Cry 4. Lions are actually the only thing you can reasonably get away with. Various species of lion existed all over the world during the last Ice Age, and they're all similar enough that you can just generally call them lions and get away with it. So Ubisoft gets a free pass on that one. But then they shoot themselves in the foot again with a very, very basic error. In the promotional material for the game, they refer to this thing as a saber-toothed tiger. Wrong, 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 wrong. Saber-toothed cats were only distantly related to modern species of cat, and calling this thing a tiger is like calling an eland a cow. The link is kinda there, but it's still completely wrong. And just in case someone tries to point out that the cat shown in the game could be a different kind of saber-tooth, no other saber-tooth that existed at the same time as human beings could be that big or have such big teeth. Speaking of mislabeled wildlife, this is not a dhole. This is a dhole. What is shown in the game is a Cape hunting dog. How did Ubisoft mess this up? They had proper dholes in Far Cry 4. Did someone get a concussion at the wrong time in their design team? Did they think the name was cool? Did their French Martian overlords command that it be so? I can understand them not wanting to call the thing a Cape hunting dog or even a wild dog, but a perfectly good name was staring them right in the face. Drumroll, please. Painted dog or painted wolf. There. Bingo. You're welcome. Also, these things are specifically native to Africa. Apart from the creatures they might have evolved from, which died out long before humans showed up, they've never been anywhere near Slovakia, so the geography's buggered again. That just about wraps up the geography rant. There's just one last thing. That is an enormous owl! Really, it's the size of a bloody hang glider! Not to be a spoil sport, but I think Ubisoft made this bird up. I have never heard of any owl, living or extinct, that is that big. Also, why an owl? This thing is shown flying around in daylight. The only truly diurnal owl species in existence are the northern pygmy owl and the northern hawk owl, and they are tiny compared to this thing. Why not have a giant eagle? It's more feasible in many ways, seeing as giant eagles have and still do exist, and eagles are easier to train than owls. Historically, eagles have been used to hunt everything from rabbits to wolves, whereas the use of owls has been rather limited. Again, this is probably Ubisoft trying to be cool, or maybe they think the owl's head tufts are cute. After all that, I know Ubisoft has to consider the knowledge of the general public, and their priority is to make a cool and profitable game. But has nobody working for them pointed out the weird decisions they're making? Maybe it's just a fantasy version of prehistoric Earth they're making, but it would be nice if they could clarify that. The name they've given the setting, Oros, might indicate just that, but I haven't heard it outright stated yet by official sources. Aside from all that, the game looks good. Looking forward to it. I might cover the misappropriated animal sounds later. Thank you for listening to this little rant. Farewell, and remember, paleontological accuracy is no joke.